Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to Hobby Ramblers. I'm Bill from Dragon Tooth Miniatures, and today I'm joined by my guest, Ari, our resident Russian.
Yes, hello.
And Mr. Alex, who's one of my best friends from high school.
Hello.
Yes, so Mr. Alex here is actually the guy that is responsible for all the wonderful music that you can all enjoy in the background of all of my videos. What is it?
What would you call it? I don't know. It's Dadaist beats.
Yeah. But I like it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, honestly. But anyway, back into what we want to do today. So we've got my Tyranid Warriors here after last session's painting, darkening process that Mr. Ari was so vehemently against.
Indeed.
Yeah. It was like, no, it's so dark now.
What would
my
you
eyes
want
have to squint.
It's like, painting a lovely painting and then going, let me just draw like a random line through it.
Yeah, that's
It's horrible.
So today we're going to be doing the highlights. We're going to be doing highlights and maybe some shadows, just to define the shadows a little bit more, because the shades last week didn't get to all the little recesses that I've noticed. So we're going to be doing that today. So up on the screen should be some close-up pictures, better pictures of what the warriors currently look like. And the paints we'll be using today are oil paints, a lot of oil paints. So Winsor Newton, Scarlet Lake, Winsor Newton, Purple Lake, and Pebio, Bright Green. Those are the three highlights we're going to be using today.
I was almost going to interject there and go, and Winsor Newton, Green Lake.
Well, unfortunately, my local art shop did not have Green Lake available. It is too popular.
I'm just going to full screen. I want to see the fidelity of the... You know what? I really do feel like, and it's something that I knew as a kid because my friend's dad did a lot of like dioramas and stuff, and he also did a lot of totally 100% legal resin casts of GW miniatures for his sons. He, coming from that diorama background, just looked at the GW paints like, no, they're fine for what they are, but they're far from like being the superior product. And yeah. He painted a few minis for me. Like he painted the white dwarf that came with the white dwarf one time, which I don't know where it is. It's probably gone. It's probably like deleted. I don't know where it ever went. But he painted that with oil paints, and it just looked beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You'd never that with acrylic.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm trying to prove today. So basically, I've got some...
Is this for a commission, or...?
No, these are my Tyranids. The commission guy is over here. So I was just doing that this morning. So that's Constantine Valdor. So that's the kind of effect that you can get with like with oil paints. Just over here.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, there you go. Some pictures of him should be coming up just right about now, so you can get a closer look for the folks on YouTube. But yeah, so what I'm essentially doing is that I've just dipped my brush in a little metal container of oil mediums, low odor or no other oil mediums. That is essential. That is essential. To be fair,
I only use odorous oil mediums, and that's why no one ever wants to be around me, so...
Yes, well, the fact you keep farting, Mr. Alex.
I'll have you know that I'm not that gaseous.
Not after you drink. But anyway, so yeah, the basic technique, we're just essentially just putting on like some dot highlights here and there, right? So they don't have to be super fine, but just try and keep them within the lines. And I'll be taking a dry brush. Like, by dry brush, I don't mean the technique dry brush, as in like a completely dry brush. And what I'm doing is that I am going to manipulate the oil paints that is already on there, and just kind of like move them around and like blend them into the surrounding area. Just over here. Like so. And if you find that there's too much oil paints, that some of the oil paint just like, just sticks onto like your dry brush, just take a paper towel and just wipe it off. It's fine. It's no biggie. And what I'm doing is that I don't want like those like massive solid lines you see when you highlight sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time since I've done any mini painting, but I'll agree with you.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible by blending in the lines into the surrounding area, while still getting kind of like highlight effect. So that is the main aim of this. So you notice there that my highlight there just kind of disappeared on that particular like line just over there, which is perfectly fine. All you need to do is just take a little bit more paint, reapply it, and continue.
So Ari, what are you hobbying right now as well? Or?
Oh yes. I'm recreating a DIY Earthshaker cannon for my basilisk.
Cool.
Yeah.
What kind of basilisk being is that the Imperial Guards?
Yeah, the Imperial Guard artillery one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The one that's kind of like a bit like a very loosely based off like a what is it, like a Pack 88, or is it flat? No, a Pack 8. Bill, you're better at World War II stuff than I am.
Yeah, it's based on the Flak 88. It looks a lot like a Flak 88 at least.
Interesting.
Yes.
Indeed. I mean, I made one of the cannons because we were doing a lab report in physics, and our whole experiment was shooting rubber bands and seeing, if they will still be following Hooke's law. And well, in order to have our results be very accurate and reliable, I made a Earthshaker cannon from popsicle sticks, and that's what we used to shoot our rubber bands.
Nice.
I think we got the longest range. Our longest shot was 9 meters and 21 centimeters, if I'm not wrong.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's quite hard to make.
I was always amazed by all the stuff that people who were doing, like when they were doing classical physics, were doing it. I never touched it. I always just did like thermodynamics and stuff like that, where it was like, I never... Too much maths. Far too much maths for me.
Well, the math in physics isn't that hard.
No, I think it's just lengthy. It's like it's fairly iterative. Like you just have to go through a page's notes for something that like was like had like 3 or 4, like maybe like 5 variables.
Yeah. It's like when you spend 15 minutes looking at someone's results just to figure out that their gravity was twice that of the Earth's atmosphere. It's like, why do I have to do this?
That's to say for me. Something like I focus more on chem, but I actually studied wine science. But before that, I was doing physics and chem, and
Why?
See, that's the thing. I always find, like, you speak to people who study physics, and they're like, "Oh, chemistry's disgusting. I don't understand any of it. It doesn't make any sense." And then you speak to the chemists, and they're like, "Man, I kind of wish I knew a bit more physics." But at the same time,
Yeah.
I don't want to think that deeply about what's happening here because it's just going to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And then you got microbiologists like my team at work, and they're just like, I just think that they like what they do is like magic, like in the sense that like they don't know what's going on. They have no understanding of the physics or the chemistry or the maths, but they seem to know kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
Like these people can't even do like C1 V1 equals C2 V2, but they can understand how like salmonella grows and like.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's very interesting.
Natural
I've got no idea what any of those things do, and I'm just like, you know what? You've entrusted me with this like multi-million-dollar ROV. It'll be all right. It's fine.
I hope for the best.
Yeah.
She'll be all right. It's fine.
I still want to see what one of these ROVs look like.
It looks pretty not good, bro.
Oh, come on! You're supposed to say they look pretty badass, but like they actually
They
don't.
actually
do
don't. Like the Singapore ROVs are pretty like haphazard.
Nonsense.
They actually are like haphazard. Like they're not bought off like professional like ROV guys. They're kind of just in-house designed.
Yeah, that's the best sort of design.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, like designed, no, but sometimes it's good for something to be designed for the purpose, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
but
No, it's not.
I mean,
Because
personally.
they always cut corners. They always cut corners.
Yeah, but you see, personally, I think that designing something that's your own, that's personal, it's a lot better because first of all, you actually get an understanding of how things are, and furthermore, you can always like repair or improve the design. If you buy it off someone else, well, do you really know how it works? You'll have to be calling them to repair stuff. You'll have to be calling them to get more of that stuff. What if they don't have any more? What are you gonna do then? So.
No, because that's not how ROVing works. Basically, like if you buy the ROV, right? You keep using it, and if you're like any kind of like engineer with two brain cells, you start like opening it up and going like, oh, so that's how that works. Huh. So you basically like open up the black box, and eventually you kind of have like a really good idea of like how things work, and then the next step is basically just going like, okay, how can we standardize these parts? Okay, how can we like modify like extra tools for it to do the job that we want it to do, and it's kind of like better to do that rather than build something from scratch because it takes years.
Yeah, that I understand.
Years
Like, reverse
for an
engineering
ROV
something.
to be developed from scratch and millions of dollars, and most companies don't want to do that, and they will cheap out on that like a lot. And you get essentially ROVs like in my company sometimes where it's just like it's like the flight characteristics of this thing is just terrible. It's like I don't even understand. This is not an ROV. This is like a submersible that just has a brush on it, and it's like the controls are just not responsive at all, and it's not like balanced in any way. Like when it descends, it descends at a tilt because they never did the whole like flotation. They never like calculated how much flotation they actually needed for it to actually like be stable underwater.
Such
So one
trivial
side,
matters.
So one side like rises up and the other side rises down, and they cheaped out on how many propellers you're supposed to have. So like on an ROV, you would for ascending and descending movements, right? You would always want at least 3 thrusters, because with 3 thrusters, you could have. So imagine this is an ROV, right? You can have one in the center, two on either side, so that they're kind of like leveled. So it'll descend like, in a leveled manner. It'll just go down straight like that. All right.
Yeah.
And you can have like a bit of movement to go like, kind of like that. So you can tilt up and tilt down when you need to. Right? So they cheaped out and they only have 2 thrusters. So every time this thing goes down, right, it is completely like, subservient to the current, to the up current. So sometimes it goes down like that. Sometimes it goes down like that. Sometimes it goes down like that. And we have no control because there's only 2 thrusters. You can't like,
Look,
So
I would agree with you, but is it really worth like such a hassle to discuss such trivial matters?
yes, it is.
Like, who really needs control over super expensive equipment which is hard to reproduce? Think about it.
I mean, if you just want like, a nice showroom piece, like whatever, who the fuck cares? But you gotta tell us it's just a showroom piece.
Well, I think they expect a bit more from it than just, being a showroom piece, don't they?
Yeah, but it is a showroom piece. This is not like usable.
Like, at all?
Not only did they cheap out on like the number of thrusters you need for
Yeah.
Love that this is
ascending
about ROVs.
They cheaped out on the number of thrusters that you need for basically going forwards and backwards and turning.
Yeah.
So usually you need at least 4 thrusters for that. They only put in 2. This thing
it was more than enough.
Has no X or Y axis movement at all. It's like a submersible underwater. It's like driving a car underwater.
Well, I mean, can't you just use fins?
No, that's not how it works.
No, I mean, like, not like fish fins. I mean, like, you have your 2 things that provide your Z-axis movement, so you can go, front, back, left, right. And then if you want to position it to go up or down, you can just have, like, 2, like, what are they, ailerons or something on the sides, which you can twist up or down. So, like, it's an underwater plane at this point, like a submarine, if you will.
It is a submarine, and the fact that, like, and that may work on a submarine, but it doesn't give you finer control. So basically, if you're trying to, like, stick to a hull of a ship at a certain area, and the current is pushing against you, you basically are pulled along by the current, and then you have to swim up again and take a position and attempt it again. Whereas if you were, if you had the recommended like 4 or reasonably like 8 thrusters, like that you would
8?
need. Yeah.
That's a bit excessive, don't you think?
No, because with 8 thrusters, you can literally just have like lateral movement. You can just go like up, down, left, right. You can tilt up or down like that. Like that's the recommended amount. Because with 8 thrusters, you can actually compensate for current, quite a lot of current actually. So you can kind of like stay around like this area here. And every time you're pulled out of position, that is like 10-15 minutes of like swing back up, finding the position again, because you have no point of reference. It's the fucking ocean. Like, unless you're like, you find a weld seam somewhere, you're just like, where the fuck am I? So like, these things are there to, because money is time.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, of course, like, companies don't understand that, and it's just like, they just want to cheap out. So every fucking time they make their own ROV, they cheap out so hard on it that it's actually just fucking not worth it. And the amount of more shit they have to do on the ROV, like, it would have been cheaper just to buy, like, a community of it.
But it's that classic thing of like, it's really hard to justify a big sum of money, but it's very easy to justify a large amount of small packages of money.
Yeah, that does make sense.
It's just because humans are just wired to, you know, see big numbers as being, you know, if there's a negative connotation with the number, then well, it's kind of blown out of proportion.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
the same if there's a positive thing. It's very hard for humans to not see things like that in absolutes.
Yeah, but the thing
Yeah,
is, right, like,
definitely.
you know, every
Stupid
ROV
bloody
with
reptilian
their salt,
brain.
right, with their salt, will literally just go in and go like, okay, this is how many like millions of dollars we think we need, and how many years we think we need to be able to, like, you know, properly, like, you know, make this thing. And they always just go like, okay, can we cut that by half? And it's like,
But you also, I mean, it's very easy to look at something from one perspective. You have to also look at it from, you know, the perspective of the companies or stuff, because, I mean, no matter how good quality your product or your work is, if you can't have it done in a specific period of time or it costs too much, obviously companies will go and look for someone else who can do it with maybe less quality, but in their their margins of time that they need it to be done.
because the cost
Exactly.
of the ROV is not passed on to the client, it's passed on to the company. So the company sees it as an investment to be able to do certain things, because you need certain classes of ROVs to do certain things, because they need to have the tonnage and the thrusting power to actually, like, you know, do the thing. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna fucking, like, you know, use a observation class ROV to move a 2-ton like cofferdam into position. That's not gonna happen. It's too
Wait,
small. Even if you had 10 of them, it just won't happen.
Wait, Bill, serious question. I've assembled the cannon out of my popsicle sticks and stuff, and now I'm thinking, should I apply
Can you
the,
turn your camera? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, well, camera. Little cannon.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
It is a popsicle stick cannon.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, should I apply paint, like, my silver paint onto it with a brush, or just go out and quickly give it a, iron hand steel spray?
I think an iron hand steel would be much better for that.
Alright, let's just spray it, because it's all meant to be silver.
If it's all silver, just spray it, dude.
Maybe except for the little shields, but I think it'd be easier to spray it silver than paint green over it.
Seal it anyway, so, you know, might as well iron hand steel it.
Well, actually, popsicle sticks are, since they've got so much texture, I usually don't bother priming them.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Why is that shocking?
No, I mean, you do realize how, like, you know, you know, how humid it is in Singapore, right? Like, that thing rots, dude.
Yeah, it would rot, but...
They do have to be food safe.
Yeah. They also
I mean,
food safe.
Yeah, these are food safe.
Yeah, but if it's rotten, it's not food safe anymore, dude.
Yeah, well... That is a fair point, but I mean... If I've painted it out,
What would
I'd be willing to
happen
eat
if a
anything.
child at, like, you know, our local, like, you know, game store, like, you know, put that thing in their mouth and it's rotten?
Well, my first question would be, why is the child attempting to eat a painted popsicle stick, which is in the shape of a gun? My second reaction would probably be, oh, well, this is horrible, well...
Yeah.
Not much else
no
I could
answers,
really
right?
do.
Got no answers to that, right? Yeah, there you go.
Dumb.
See? Left you speechless for once.
Speechless. Well, I mean... I think the first question is probably the most important to ask. Because I don't think well, I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, guns don't look very appetizing.
You don't know that. You can't assume someone's appetite.
Well, I think I just have.
Yeah, how dare you, good sir?
How dare I assume someone's appetite?
Yeah.
That's what we've come to these days.
Well, I guess so.
Oh, Bill, a friend of ours that he wasn't a friend of yours, but like a guy that we went to high school with got
Got cancer?
cancelled, not cancer.
Oh. Okay, well, that's a bit better. What happened?
What happened?
And then they're just like, he's out of the band because of, we're not going to say anything, but things happened. And it was like, oh, okay. And then like, a whole bunch of like local news, like local music news things are like, oh my god, this person is out of the band. He was previously in this other band, and there's allegations of sexual assault. And it's like, oh.
Like, why would you do something like that? Honestly, I think cancel culture is just, it's not a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm not, I'm not okay with the sexual assault, obviously, but like,
yeah,
I just think like the approach to it is just like a bit. Well, it's also like
Canceling him. Why are you just not calling up police and just having some sort of criminal investigation? Like, actually,
honestly.
like, bro, like, let the cops do their job, and
Yeah.
He's innocent until proven guilty. Get the lawyers on it, have a proper criminal investigation.
Well,
Is the innocent until proven guilty?
At least that's how it operates in Australia.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if you're not going to do anything about it, you might as well not actually cancel people. And furthermore, if there's an issue that you want to bring up with a person, doing it through, like, media, if you have the opportunity to meet, like, face-to-face, is just a stupid thing, because A, you're not going to be solving anything, and B, you're probably going to make them even more angry or upset than they are right now. And they're going to be less likely to actually look at things from your perspective and communicate with you. It's like common sense, but for some reason people are lacking it nowadays.
That's probably all the virtue signaling that people do,
No virtue signaling allowed.
Oh, wait, Bill, would you say that virtue signaling is cancelled?
It's cancer.
Alright, I'll be back. I'll just go give my stuff a, what is it, spray.
Yep. Holy moly, dude.
What's up?
Nah.
What's nah?
Yeah. So today I just took the day off to do some painting because I was just like, oh fuck work.
Okay. I wish that I could have done that. I had a pretty rough day today at work. I had the all sales meeting. Oh, that's business, Like, it's like the fourth month in a row that we're at like minus 50% of the overall business's targets.
And it's like, are they blaming you for it? Are there some people that are trying to blame you for it?
I think there are some people that kind of feel like I'm not working hard enough. But like when you see like the number of proposals that I've issued to companies and such, and then you see the conversion rate, and it's like, oh. I reckon like from like, yeah, I mean it's actually crazy. Like even getting the small business people, like it's hard because people these days, right? Like when they go get a quote for something, they don't just get one. Like they tend to just like by default get a couple, and like our prices, because we subcontract all of it, are more expensive. And also sometimes I price things higher because I know that someone's going to be a hassle and I just don't want to deal with them. Worst thing is like when I like issue someone with a quote for like 3 times, and they come back and they're trying to push me to do the work for them, and I'm like, oh god, I tried to price you out of having testing, and you're still doing it. What the hell?
Yeah, is that a good thing? Is that a good thing?
No, not really, because it still ends up like worse, like in terms of timing.
Oh,
Like I did that to this guy who owns a coffee business, right? And he like does the roast coffee. And it's a really small operation. And like, I mean, he's not a bad guy, but like he just is kind of like
you don't like him, I understand.
Yeah, I can't stand him. But he's also just like a bit, it seems like he's a bit like, I don't know, just like deficient in something, like possibly just like knowledge, but also potentially other things. And he just like, he spent like $700 with us, and he just like feels like he can call me like every week after, like, oh hey, so I need to do this as part of my labeling, like, so can you help me through this? I'm like, no, we provided you the results for your labels and we did your label compliance. Nothing else is part of the service. Like, I will not interpret the data for you because I'm not a consultant. I will not do X. That's what it is. And he finally stopped calling, but it was like probably like 12 additional calls on top of the 3 or 4 that should have been needed.
Nah, man, he just wants more free stuff out of you. Sometimes it happens, bro.
I know, you just gotta, just like, no, I'm not helping you. We just don't answer the phone to them.
Yep.
Like, there's this person who's trying to call me, and like, we delivered their results, and they've been trying to call me. And like, she left a message with me, and she was like, hey, just wanted to discuss those results. I don't think they're correct, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at the results, like, myself, and I was just like, yeah, they're correct. She effectively was like wanting to test like the leftover yeast from wine for like vitamins and stuff, so that she could turn it into a skincare product.
Okay.
And like, just by default, they're not gonna have a high concentration of any of those vitamins. Like, it's just not the case. Oh god.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, it's leftover yeast. What do you want, bro?
Yeah, it's like, you know, there are going to be some vitamins, but like in such a small concentration. Oh my lord. And also, like, that whole process of like creating wine, like, that probably consumed a lot of the vitamins that were there.
Yeah.
It's a waste product.
Killing the yeast. It's like, oh yeah. Yeah, death is usually a good way of, you know, having no vitamins.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you mean? What's killing the yeast?
I thought a big part of like winemaking was that you kill the yeast at certain points and just go like, okay, cool.
No, not strictly speaking. Like, the thing is, what happens generally is like the yeast will just consume all the sugar and then just go like, oh, there's no more food, I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeast.
Oh, they go to sleep.
Well, it's kind of like like stasis, and then eventually, like, some of them die, and like eventually they all will die without sufficient nutrients and, like, you know, building block for life. But it's not. I mean, like, typically there are in winemaking chemicals. I'll just grab my old textbooks.
I remember doing a science question about yeast on my IGCSE.
What was it about?
Oh, it was like, alright, the rate of the reaction of yeast in like a solution is this, and here's the rise of temperature. Describe why after a certain point there is no more reaction. It's like a 2-mark question. I said, well, first of all, the yeast may have consumed all of the sugar within the solution, and there's no more, sugar for them to use for the reaction. Secondly, due to the fact that their respiration caused the solution to heat up, this could have caused the temperature to rise too high for the yeast to tolerate, and the yeast has all died off.
Yep, it's not technically correct, but it's not technically incorrect.
I think I got full marks for that because I had 2 answers, so just
Oh yeah.
that extra one.
Oh yeah, well, it's like if any one person had actually answered that correctly, I would be amazed. Like I mean, scientifically correctly, not like satisfying the criteria for what they're trying to measure, which I think is someone's deduction ability and like a bit of understanding.
So we were all wrong.
Oh well, but studying science is kind of like when you start like in say first year uni, it's like kind of like you have these broad concepts that are kind of quite wrong in certain areas, but they kind of generally just cover everything. And then you go further and further deeper, and then you go into like the practical side of science. You're like, it's different again because you don't need all this theory, but you need a lot of like understanding of process.
Wow, interesting.
Are you studying engineering or?
No, engineering, too much math.
What are you doing?
Well, right now I'm doing my bachelor. So, IB. For my higher levels, I took bio, physics, and history.
Oh, you're doing the international baccalaureate. Oh, my sister.
Yeah. And then for my standard levels, I'm doing language and literature, Chinese B, and what was the other one? It was an interesting one, wasn't there? Is it?
Right.
Can't seem to remember what it is. Let me just quickly pull up my website and check. Math. Right, it's my standard level. Yes, standard level math.
I mean, to be fair, like I had to do engineering maths at the uni, and I don't really remember how to do any of that. I had to do like calculus and all these like differential equations and all this kind of stuff, and then further stuff for like applied maths, and then I've never used it.
Yeah, it's very interesting how stuff turns out and how stuff works.
It's good, but it's good to like get that kind of that fundamental understanding, because it gives you a way to quantitate things, and
Yeah, definitely.
It's just kind of important. I think, like, as much as it is probably useless for most people to actually study it, it's a handy tool to have in the toolbox.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's useless. It's just that majority of people wouldn't be using it on a day-to-day basis. But when it does come in handy, it's extremely useful thing to have and to know.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
What math? What?
No, definitely, math. It's not something I would.
See, I still haven't used math.
Well,
Like, most of the issues I found have been just more like, yeah, okay, we have this circuit diagram or this drawing, and we just have to follow it and backtrack it. Like, we have, like, any time we've had to, like, even remotely, like, do anything, it's always just been like, oh, we just get out of the machine and it just, does the calculation for us, and it's like, okay, cool, done. Alright, looks alright.
seems legit.
That's
legit.
Pretty common.
It's within the acceptable range. Okay, let's go. And also the classic, you know, like we turn it on and off and see if it works.
Ah, yes, definitely.
That's a very common fix sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After 2 years of studying ICT, I finally understand why off and onning something usually fixes its issues. Usually has with the resetting all the caches in the memory, which clears anything any program that you've been trying to do if there was some kind of bug in it. So since everything's cleared, it usually restarts and it's debugging. Things usually don't allow the bug to occur a second time. So it's quite important to know why onning and offing something will fix it.
Sometimes it even helps with, like, you know, mechanical issues. I don't know why. It's just like,
It just does.
yeah. We had a jammed propeller one time. It was like, oh yeah, just turn it on and off again. It's like, oh, cool. That's
Literally, like something was like kind of like loosely stuck. It was like, and it just needed to not be applying pressure, and it just gave way then.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, that worked.
Say, have you ever tried praising the Omnissiah whenever something didn't work?
I've hit a few things, and then it worked.
Well, because I usually do end up praying to the Omnissiah whenever some technological thing isn't working, and 9 times out of 10 it does work.
Like, I've told this story a few times about, like, you know, there was so we were going on an observation training excursion, and for whatever reason, the observation ROV control panel wasn't working, and we tried everything. We tried on and off, like, you know, the ROV supervisor.
The usual.
Like, I don't know why it's not working, that kind of thing. And I just like, it's like, so bear in mind, this just one box is like $7,000. I just hit it, and I just turn it back on and off again, and it's like, okay, works. And like, the director was there, and he was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Seems like it'd be a dangerous game to play.
I'm like, but it worked now. Like, yeah, but don't do it again. It's like,
But what if it didn't?
it works.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, but you know, there's always a what if it didn't.
Well, it's not like it's gonna break just because I hit it, dude.
Oh, well. It could have very easily done that.
No, dude. These are all, like, you know, hard-wearing things. Like, you know, these are designed to be roughed around. Like, if it breaks because, you know, I hit it, it's like, this thing shouldn't be on the boat then. Like, why the fuck is this thing on a boat?
Because it's a crucial piece of technology which you might need to be testing.
Yeah, and, like, those kinds of crucial pieces of technology are designed to be, like, hard-wearing. Because it's gonna be on a ship. And what happens when you're on a ship and it's rough seas? Things fly off the shelf. Things, like, drop. Like, that is something that is in the design feature. If it can't take that abuse, it's just not supposed to be there.
Maybe.
It just shouldn't be there.
Alright. You win this time.
Questioning me even my own job, like, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not very wise, but
things. How dare you?
You never know.
Bill used to always having people question him about his job, even when he used to work at Subway.
Oh, you worked at Subway?
Yeah, I worked at Subway, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
He was a sandwich, what is it, a sandwich artiste?
Yeah. I had a friend who once worked at Subway.
I was the only one at that Subway that was, like, you know, that could make a 60-second, could make a sub in 60 seconds. What they actually advertised it would take for somebody to make a sub, and people fucking constantly complained about it.
Well, okay, advertising is advertising. At some point, you do have to realize that maybe it won't be exactly what they said.
No. As in, I could make a sub in 60 seconds.
Yeah, I get that.
I did make subs in 60 seconds, and people complained that it was like, whoa, it's too fast. Slow down.
No, or people complained that it was too fast. I thought you were saying that people were complaining about your colleagues who couldn't make a sub in 60 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't, but it was just like, it was like, whoa, what are you doing? Why are you rushing, man? And I was like, bro, there's a lunch line that's like, going out the door. Like,
yeah, but
tell me what you want, and so I can make the bloody sub.
Yeah, it's very hard when you're dealing with food. I remember working as a kebab man.
Kebabs.
Yeah.
You get free kebabs if they drop on the floor?
Yeah.
Excellent. As it should be.
Yeah, like, legit, I abuse that sometimes. So, like, they'd be like, what is this? It's like all burnt. How am I going to give this to the customer? I'm like, yeah, no biggie, I could eat it. And I would.
Yeah.
It's like, it's no point letting bad burnt kebabs go bad. Go worse. So, if I was a bit too hungry, I'd, just keep one on a bit too long, give it, like, make it fully black, fully charged. They'd be like, oh, how can I give this to the customer? I'm like, yeah, no biggie, I'll eat it.
Yeah. I used to abuse that sometimes as well, where it's just like, sometimes I would just purposely just get a customer's order wrong, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no, how could it be? I've made my favorite sandwich.
I've absolutely made my favorite sandwich. What?
Well, it would be a shame to give this to the customer, so...
I used to, accidentally pour too much into people's glasses when it was like when we had expensive wines on by the glass. So then I'd get to take home like a few like quarter bottles.
Oh wow.
Wow. Ari, when can you drink? I don't know how old you are.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to offer me a drink, you could, but I'm not at the age where I could go in somewhere and legally purchase alcohol.
But how many years do you have?
16.
16 more years?
I know,
What?
I'm 16. I've got 2 more years.
Oh, 2 more years.
So I can. Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad.
16 more years. Blimey, I'd be like 2.
Yeah, you
Maybe
are.
2 and
like,
2
are
and
you
a half.
2?
2 and a half. 2 and a half. 2 and a half.
Blimey.
Damn, back in school, I remember when I was a wee youngster, like, being like some age and a half or some age and a quarter. You'd be like the superior one for a day. It's like, I just turned 7. Yeah, well, I'm 7 3/4. It's like, well, clearly you are better.
Yeah.
Simpler times.
Simpler times.
Yeah, now I gotta do IB or something.
Oh, actually, speaking of beer, I'm gonna go get a beer.
So, back onto the question of painting. Yeah. That's what it's getting
Painting?
like now with the highlights, yeah.
Let me take a look.
Exactly.
Don't know, I think I still prefer it before you put like all the wash on it.
Yeah, it's good.
Not being rude, just offering some critique.
But you want just plain like block colors, no interest of any kind.
Maybe.
Yeah. The true red menace. Yes.
Maybe that's what I should call this beer, Bill.
What?
Red Menace.
Oh. Is it red?
Yeah.
Oh, you could, yeah.
think that sounds a bit too cliche, though. Like Red Menace. Maybe something like interesting.
Red. There you go. That's what I.
No, like something like, Red Venice, and then, the logo would be like, like a Venetian canal with like a red kayak in the middle, or something,
Maybe you should call it Better Dead Than Red. Stupid dang comedy.
Well, I mean, I don't quite agree.
What was that chord progression? What did I just do there?
I think it's better to be communist than it is to be dead. In fact, I'd argue it's better to be dead than it is to be a anti-communist.
What?
Yeah, I think it's actually, it would be better to be dead than be an anti-communist.
Why would you say that?
Because communists are so good, they vouch for equality. It's what we're meant to be striving for. It's gonna sound a bit biased coming from a Russian, doesn't it?
No, that is such a idealistic vision of communism that just reminded me of us in the high school days, Mr. Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We read do you remember when we were 16 and we read the Communist Manifesto?
Yeah.
You read it at 16? I read it 3 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, this guy's a fucking edgy teen right here.
Yeah. So that is what it's meant to be in principle, but in practice, it is the most corrupt thing ever. It is corrupt on multiple levels, just because it is completely reliant on human beings being trustworthy enough to hold this power and to use it for the betterment of others. That may work for about one generation, but when the next generation comes in, it gets real corrupt real quickly. Really quickly.
Yeah. Honestly, I've really progressed as a person. I remember back in the day, I think that communism is truly the way. Now I've learned to understand that humans don't know what they want. As Lenin said, the people don't know what they want. So we really need to go back to the good old days when we had something like a Tsar. Because the Tsar, well, he knows what the people want. So whatever he says goes.
We're already having that. We have a soon-to-be life dictator, Xi Jinping.
Yeah, I don't blame the guy. He in my opinion, right? Yeah, okay, look, they maybe do many bad things, but I truly believe that having a sort of not really, sort of a dictatorship is the correct way to be heading in.
A benevolent dictatorship.
Maybe.
Why do you say that?
What, that dictatorship is the right way to go?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it, right? Democracy. What truly is democracy? Well, let's say for simplicity's sake, democracy is the original version of democracy where literally everyone in a country gets to vote. Seems good? Yes. But what does that mean? That means that people who are uneducated, who would probably be the masses, would be able to easily sway, what the country's decisions without having proper understanding. Alright, you say we don't do that. We just have, an elite group. Well, that's already an oligarchy. That's not democracy. So why don't we have that instead? Why? Why an oligarchy? Because that's one little elite group. Perhaps what I think would probably be the best thing is to have a, kind of what the Tsar almost had, where you have one person, like a royalty, who will pass down their power in a generation, per generation. That's flawed, because if you get one bad ruler, that's it. However, to counteract this, we have something like a state Duma, like a mini parliament, which will negotiate with the royalty, and they will always be communicating in order to make sure that no one truly has all the power, but it's not like where everyone has a bit of the power. So we have the elite group who can sort of think about stuff, see how stuff is going, and then we have the royalty who can also do the same thing, and they can communicate in order to make better and more informed decisions. So I actually have a basis to my opinions. I'm not just out there saying communism or Tsarism. So it's a bit of thought that goes into these things.
So my problem with that is that really apply to the modern world. It may have applied maybe 50 years ago when we still had like large parts of the world that are like horrendously uneducated. But with the exception of some parts of like, the developing world, right? Everyone's pretty got a really good baseline of education right now. Like we're at the stage in human development where like, almost everyone that, a very large percentage of the human race is quite like reasonably educated. So you can't just say like, those people are uneducated, they're just gonna like, do that, or like, it doesn't hold weight anymore. It really doesn't hold weight. Like, yeah, they may be misinformed, but that's the duty of every citizen, like, to be as informed as possible to make a reasonable judgment, because every citizen has one vote, no matter like who you are, no matter like, what your line of work or like, what your social status is, you have one vote. So it is your duty as a citizen to, be informed. And if you're derelict of that duty, that's how like countries fall. And honestly, like, it is a system that works quite well when put into proper practice and corruption isn't involved. But unfortunately, that's not how humans are. And like, honestly, when you put so much power into such small, like, into such a small group of people, it always leads to corruption. It is too tempting, way too tempting. Like, to the point where it is just not feasible. Any ideology that puts absolute power in the hands of a few individuals is doomed to corruption.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of why I had the Duma and the sort of, let's call them the royalty separate, so they can both kind of police
the Duma
each
would
other.
get corrupted.
Yeah, but then the royalty, since they also have power, they could kind of like try counteract that kind of thing.
No, because they'd just be corrupt as well. There's no overarching like people power that there's no like kind of like free like the point of free journalism in a democracy is to be the kind of like overarching like the overarching kind of like watchdog of all these different like government agencies, stuff like that, so that if there is any corruption, it's out there in the open and people can just absolutely just go to town on it and go like, no more office, get the hell out, we'll impeach the guy, he's in derelict of duty, he's corrupt, this is the evidence, the justice system has said yes, this is correct, get out of office.
It's the thought that matters.
So if you have a Duma system where like the Duma is supposed to be watching the nobles and the nobles are supposed to be watching the Dumas, so what if both parties are corrupt? What if both parties start working together to like, because they see like an opportunity to make more money for themselves and to consolidate more power for themselves?
Well, that would be horrible for the economy.
Like, yeah. It doesn't matter to them. They will just like have a class of serfs. It doesn't matter because they can't speak up.
Yeah, well...
That's exactly what happened with the Tsars. That's what happened to the other royals.
Yeah, but I mean, a class of serfs. I think nowadays...
We would just create a class of serfs.
Yeah, people, right? I mean, how do I say this without coming off as being an evil person? People enjoy too many luxuries and leisures, such as, being able to always speak up, always being able to, do what they want, having, protection. I personally think that back in the day, oh god, okay, I'm stepping into dangerous territory, aren't I?
No, just like voice out your opinions, man. Like, we're all like mature and understanding, like adults.
Yeah, no, I get that, but
I'm certainly not part of the woke left, so I'm not gonna like cancel you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, so like people nowadays, they have too much, and because of that, I think that they don't truly understand how others live, and that's an issue. Say, the capitalist model. We always need a lower, middle, and upper class for it to function. But if there's a bit more equality, say we have, the leading party, and we have everyone else, just the workers, then the equality, since everyone's the same, there won't be much disparity because everyone's going to be like, yeah, we're the same. There's the ruling class, and they're wise, they're chosen by God, or whatever other reasons you want to say. So they're them, they have a point, they have a reason to be there. We can't do anything about that. And then here's us, just the simpletons, enjoying our simple things, doing what we're told, and life would hopefully be better and easier. I mean,
Okay.
I sort of understand what I'm trying to say.
I think you're delving into the territory of something that is like a nice thought experiment, but the biggest factor I think that you need to look at in all systems is that you need to have a system that just lets humans do what we naturally want to do, which is compete for resources
Yes,
and
definitely.
create and look after our tribe and do stuff and have that kind of very narrow mindset. Like, I think you'll probably kind of grow to understand this once you're a bit older and once you've worked in large companies and small companies with lots of different people, when you've been out in the workforce and you're not studying, you'll kind of come to understand how people work on an aggregate outside of textbook definitions as well. And the fundamental thing is that people, despite their best intentions, are always going to be self-serving. It's just a fact of reality. And I used to be of the thought that we need to just have a computer god that just effectively just calculates everything, runs all the physics, all the chemistry, everything, and then works out the most efficient way for humanity to exist to just further its understanding of science. Because I mean, frankly, there's no other point for us to be here, other than to master the universe. There's not really any. I don't think there's okay, well, to enjoy ourselves. Fuck yeah, I want to live a hedonistic lifestyle. But
Yeah.
Give
me the life of Emperor Caligula, please.
But my point is more so I agree with the kind of morality of what you're going for, but I just don't think that it's realistic to have something like that sustainable. And I mean, there's very little evidence for anything like that lasting.
Yeah, because the main reason I moved away from socialism or communism is that the nature of people is that we don't want to be equal. We always strive to be better. We always want to compete. We always want to do something which can give us more. We need motivation to do something to better ourselves.
Inequality is just built into existence, into physics. Hydrogen is not the same as helium.
But also, think about this, right? The massive, so when you have, a very set caste system, in communism, right? Well, you have an upper and lower class and lower echelon. Things tend to stagnate very, very quickly. And
you always get famines for some reason. Communism
always
causes famines.
It's always
causes famines. It always causes famines. It causes natural disasters. Only because these guys at the very top,
they always exterminate the bugs.
They're always oh, we need to kill all the bugs and do some sort of eco-engineering, and it's holy shit, the bugs actually did something. All right, we're gonna kill the smaller bugs.
Until it's where do you stop? What, you kill all the bacteria?
No, it would probably be something oh, the bugs actually actually irrigate the land and makes the land fertile. Holy fuck!
They import more bugs.
We're gonna import more bugs. Well, what about the bugs that we need to eat the bugs? It's oh, we need to import those too. Wait, the bugs aren't eating the smaller bugs. They're eating the naturally occurring bugs because they have no defenses.
Yeah.
And it always causes an ecological disaster because you have this top-down style of governance where there's they don't want people to actually go against them. They don't like hearing that. So you have all these learned men and they want to hear good things about them because that's generally in a state of human, that's just how humans work, right? And if you
Yep.
have all the power in the world, you generally just want to hear good things about yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Stroke your own ego. So, like, when you have a scientist that says, like, no, you don't do that because it's a really dumb idea, and, you know, we've done this in the past, and other countries have done this in the past, so don't do it, and they're just like, right, okay, put that man in a concentration camp, please.
Yeah. Say, before we, delve deeper into this, I'm probably gonna head out soon, and
Alright.
but we get there when we get there. So I've finished the basilisk. You guys want to take a look?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Sure. Turn on my camera. Little basilisk.
Nice.
Thanks.
Oh, look at that. See, it looks cool. Hold on a minute, let me, put
Zoom in.
thing. Look at that.
Yeah. Do you reckon the armor is angled enough? Or
I mean, the normal armor isn't angled at all.
really? I thought it was a bit rounded.
A tiny bit rounded, but nowhere near as angled as that.
Oh no.
It's good, man. It's an improvement.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
It's
the
an
mechanicals obviously won't come after you for, like, desecrating the holy STC. Like, how dare you? That plate should be exactly at a 90-degree angle.
90? Wouldn't that just be like straight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Because I
How
mean,
dare you deviate from the STC?
yeah. Because angling armor, well, that's just such a smart idea. Because first of all,
How do you know
thickens
that?
it.
Have you read the STC? Are you a techno-heretic?
No.
You must be in league with the Dark
Well, you might be a
Mechanicum. How dare you?
techno-heretic.
That's true. The dark. Wait, but actually, does the dark mechanicum encourage what is like new designs, or are they also
All the time,
very?
yes. You know all those demon engines? Yeah, that's all Dark Mechanicum new stuff.
Yeah, because if you think about it, right, the gods of chaos, they represent both the bad and the good of humanity, and the only reason they're these evil beings is because at this point in 40k, everyone is at war. So if everyone just became nice and just kept being nice for like a few years, the warp would probably calm down and be a much nicer place again.
Not particularly. It's already too late to fix the warp like that. It would take way more than everyone just being nice for, like, a few years. Because, like, so the warp is kind of like how it is today because of the war in heaven. During the war in heaven, more than the entire population of the galaxy died. Because the old ones just started creating races to fight in the wars against the Necrons and the Star Gods and the Catans.
Yeah.
And the Catan really, really fucked things up. And every time they ate things and killed things, it basically was like a micro seizure in the warp.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if like it's kind of like if you said, like, oh, let's kind of like start like replacing the pavements at Harlem. It's a start, but it's not going to get rid of the gang violence.
Yeah. But also, because you see with Chaos, it's a very interesting faction, and GW could really make Chaos, like, extremely interesting for, stuff, writing, I guess. Because you get stuff where it's like you can truly see, like, how bad they are, like, with the Emperor's Children. Like, they've just gone insane at this point. They just want to torture people and do, like, wild surgeries to increase their pain tolerance or stuff like that to get more pleasure, which, yeah, it's pretty bad. But then you also get stuff like the Dark Mechanicum, where, yeah, they do some, questionable stuff, but at the same time, unlike the Imperium, because of Chaos, they have, they make progression. They actually encourage new designs. They don't have the stagnation that the Imperium has. Zinch, despite being, insane and crazy, he also gives you, he gives the people something to look up to. Think about, better times. So, it's very interesting, the duality of Chaos.
Yeah.
GW really has a good opportunity to make chaos interesting here.
Of
Like,
course,
more interesting than it is already.
They've had that for like decades now, but they've done nothing with it.
Yeah, well, you know, the new GW might think of something.
No, they'll probably just go like, look at this new shiny chaos model. Like that'll be $65, please. And also look at our new $305 starter set.
Let's hope they don't continue with those.
Oh no, that's the new direction, bro.
Oof.
The comic becomes the new direction. Everything's gonna get replaced by them at some point.
Say, you want to see my sculpted basilisk?
Oh yeah, sure. I haven't seen that.
Alright. There we go. Let's hope it doesn't shatter and break in my hands.
Is it the one made of clay?
Yep.
Oh.
It's a bit bigger.
Oh. Looks very chaosy.
Yeah, I painted it as if it was a, left somewhere and it's begun to degrade. So as you can see...
It's more than degrade. That looks a lot like those, that looks like those wrecks, I've seen off, like, Indonesia. Like, all those, like, warships from World War II. That looks like that, actually.
Yeah, so on the bow you can see I've got the light green, where the sun would have hit, and then the dark green, where it's been in the shade and the original color is left. A bunch of rust.
Yeah.
It's an interesting model, but I would like to use it in a game once.
You get more questions about the model, just like, what's that? Is it a plague crawler?
Maybe. No one will ever know.
Yeah. So when are you heading off, Ari?
Probably in about 5-10 minutes.
Alright, cool.
Yep.
Because I've got Jade's coming on, so he's coming on like in about 5-10 minutes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Alright. Might just wait to say hi and then head off.
Yeah.
So till when you guys reckon you will stay on?
I don't know when I might head off soon because I've got work in the morning and I'm 2 or 3 hours different from Bill.
I see.
Yep. I mean, Jade's coming on for about 2 hours, and then I'll end the recording, and then I'll I'll do some.
Oh, I might actually be able to come back and still talk to you guys for a bit.
Awesome.
Say, Bill, as a engineer-y sort of person and knowing a bit about tanks, right?
Yeah.
About armor, because I was very curious about you know how angling armor, it first of all makes the thickness a bit more thick, and furthermore increases the chances of a ricochet.
Okay. Yeah.
Or a ricochet. How would you pronounce it? Ricochet or ricochet?
Ricochet.
American or British?
No, it's just ricochet.
Ricochet. Because in Russian the T is very prominent.
Yeah, I've heard it say ricochet. Yeah, especially in America. Yeah.
Oh god, it's just because Americans don't know how to pronounce French.
Well, yeah, because I was thinking,
Well, in Americanese.
Americanese.
I mean, there are people who say route, and like, I don't know. There are a million different things that Americans say that I just I hear and I'm like, no.
Route and route.
Well,
I mean,
right,
the problem is in Australia, root means to have sex.
Really?
Yeah, to have a root is to have sex.
So we say route instead of root, and it's like, it confuses everyone if you say root.
Yeah, sometimes. They're just like little dialects that have evolved.
Yeah, you sound like you've got an international accent, a bit like Bill's.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, so I was thinking, because even if you have very thin armor on a tank and you angle it, that wouldn't really help you that much, because you still need a specific amount of thickness to be able to, stand up to a shell.
Yep. Yep. To have enough material to actually resist.
Just think about it like this. If the angling makes it easier for it to ricochet, like it's just always like a case of like path of least resistance, and in this case, like it's probably predominantly going to be predicated on the density of the material and the tensile strength of it.
So no, you cannot angle aluminium to the point where like it will be like, you know, I mean, you can have it bullet resistant, but like not much else than that. I mean,
you could angle it
that you would
for
get.
aluminium to be resistant to tank shells, but at that point you'd have your aluminium plate the length of a tank at 180 degrees, so it'd just be flat on it.
Yeah, it would just be ridiculous. I mean, at that point, right, you're basically building the tank to be like somewhat bullet resistant, to be light, and you're basically like heavily relying on the soft kill systems, the new soft kill systems.
Man, new technologies are really like ruining all of the interesting kind of things that go behind warfare.
What do you mean like, you know, what do you mean ruining it? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, okay, like, you know, they're probably improving, like, you know, stuff for people who are actually fighting the wars, but as a person who...
Yeah, hell yeah, dude, like, what the fuck?
No, but, like, you know, when you read it, because, you know, I've read the, a few things about, you know, Soviet tankers or Soviet infantry people, and it's very interesting how they would discuss, like, you know, we got this machine gunner, so what we'd do is that we'd head out, we'd like, you know, lay down covering fire, throw grenades, we'd have, like, 2 each. So the sergeant, he would be there to be like, okay, you two fire, those guys reload, okay, quick change, you guys fire. While that's happening, our 3 comrades at the back, they'd be loading up the machine gun and setting up the nest, so then we could, you know, it's like much more interesting than now. It's like, oh yeah, we got the sergeant, he said, okay, you 2 guys fire a machine gun, get over here. You just waddle across them.
What do you mean waddle across? What do you
Machine guns are heavy. They're heavy.
What do you mean? I don't understand. Like...
You know, it's sort of, say for example now, say take tanks, where, you know, there'd be the commander who's like, you know, we were there hidden behind like a log, like a few logs, and they were thick enough to, you know, slow down the shell so it didn't penetrate armor, but then this happened, and, you know, some of the it fractured the armor, so, you know, a bit of the shrapnel went flying, it hit this, that happened. Now it's like, you know, one of the reactive plates kind of, you know, just decided to be reactive and nothing much happened. So it's a lot less, it's a lot harder to write interesting stuff about the engagements now. There's a lot less, like, small things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think a lot of, like, today's engagements are based around, like, small things. Like, real small things. Like, right now, like, most engagements are basically, can you spot the enemy before the enemy spots you? Most of the time.
That's always been that, hasn't it?
No, but, like, in the past, there's, like, several determining factors, like weather, terrain, and also, like, you know, familiarity with the terrain and stuff like that. Nowadays, with GPS, it's kind of like, been somewhat mitigated. Like, I mean, if one nation has GPS and the other one doesn't have GPS, yeah, that nation that doesn't have GPS is gonna get dunked on, like, a lot. That was proven, like, you know, with the Operation Desert Storm. Like,
Yeah.
that was not even a competition.
Yeah, so you see
One of
stuff
the
like
biggest
GPS.
factors in the U.S. like tank formations being able to surprise the Iraqi Guard on a regular basis was because the Iraqi Guard was still working off like old maps, and they didn't know how to cross their own desert because it wasn't very well mapped. But the American tankers had GPS, so they knew exactly where they were going, and so most of the time the Iraqi Guard were going like, they can't possibly come through the desert.
And they did.
Yeah, and they did, and all of the tanks were facing the wrong way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see, that's like the little bit more of the I don't know, a bit more like, not really lore, a bit more of those like little things to write about. Oh, we just checked the GPS, it was that. Like back in the day, it would be like, okay, so we laid out the map, we checked, okay, they're mostly going to come from this or that route, we're going to make a flanking maneuver over here, and then that'll be there, and then, you know, it's a bit more stuff that you can talk about. Really, you look back and you go, wow, like how did people actually do this? Like, it's really a lot more awe, and like when you see and you're like, damn, this bloke, this commander, truly wise beyond his years. He could like make this ambush and you make them work perfectly. Like, how would someone do that with a freaking map and a compass? And he could. Like, you know.
I mean, yeah, man. How do people sail when when the only thing they had was sextant? It was like,
Yeah.
what the hell? How the hell did like all those people that all those explorers that were just like discovering new continents and like, wow, you calculated that there would be some form of landmass there of shoddy calculations that were wrong to begin with.
Well, they weren't wrong.
And you took a chance where you could have just been like lost at sea.
The whole like mapping of the stars and stuff was like all the trigonometry necessary for that. I think that's actually like much more that was much more developed than people give credit for.
Really?
Like, historical. I think so. I think in order to do all the calculations for navigation and such.
Yeah, stars
Because,
definitely.
like, what makes the star map so much more accurate is because we know where all the land masses are, so we have a point of reference.
Yeah.
But back then,
Alright.
it was like, we think there is something there, based on
Yeah, well,
something.
I guess that's the
So,
main
like-
thing, right? That's
like,
interesting.
that kind of like sense of like, you're putting your family, because usually they brought their families along, and like hundreds of sailors' lives on like a somewhat like a calculation that you're comfortable with, and that proved to be correct later on because you're alive. But
Yeah.
like there are plenty of other stories of explorers going off in like a random direction and just getting lost at sea and like starving to death.
Yeah, but you see, that's the interest that like adds a lot more, stuff to like the spice to the thing. Because like, if there's like an engagement, like reading another thing, say there was like, they were planning for an ambush and they were like, aight, so they'd probably come from here. They set up and they come from a different road. And it's like, well, this is horrible for the economy. And they get absolutely destroyed. Or maybe the opposite happens and they manage to reposition in time and they destroy the
But that's still
ambushers.
nowadays, dude. Like,
Yeah, but now it's more like, oh no, check the GPS, they're coming from the other side. It's like,
You do realize the GPS tells you where the things are, like, in relation, like, to a map. It doesn't tell you where the enemies are.
yeah, but look,
It tells you
what
where
I
the
mean.
road maps are. It's like, it's just a better map. It tells you where you are in relation to the maps. It doesn't tell you where the enemies are. That doesn't happen, bro. There's
You know
no
what I
army in the
mean.
world that just has like a strobe light that like goes like, okay, we'll play this game, like this war fairly, and like if you turn on your strobe lights so that we can see where you are, we'll turn on our strobe lights.
You get what I mean. Anywho, I think it's time for me to go. We can discuss this later. Let's just remember where we ended.
Sure.
So you just
sure, dude.
remember that you both disagree. That's the main thing.
I'm not
So you have to
disagreeing.
find some other point.
We're not disagreeing. We're just having a discussion.
We're having a discussion.
It's always important to remember to attack the argument and not the person. That is a mistake that I see happening far too often in like disputes.
No, I'm sorry. The actual true strategy of any debate is ad hominem first, argument later, argument second.
Well, okay.
Because
see
you
you
really
guys.
have to kill them
Yeah, you
before
do.
you can kill their argument. Because if you kill them, their argument doesn't exist.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's been lovely talking to you guys. See you next time.
Yep, lovely talking to you too. See ya, dude.
See ya.
Hey,
Bye.
hey. So this is what they look like when they're actually properly highlighted in comparison
No,
to
that's really good.
non-highlighted.
Do you have like an example of like similar painting colors with acrylic versus oils?
I do not. This is, I don't know, this particular scheme I've done, I've only attempted it with oils, because to do it with acrylics would take 10 times more time.
I see.
Like,
What was this
now-
Irian.com thing that appeared on the top left of your screen? Is that your sponsor? Bill, are you sponsored?
no? What's that?
I just saw Irian.com appear on the left hand side of your screen.
That's not me, dude. That's on you, man. I don't have that appearing on me.
Okay.
And I'm not even streaming, bro. This is just a normal Discord call.
Okay, I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm very
That's fine.
confused too.
I think Discord issues.
Right.
Hey,
Hello, Mr. Jade.
how you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Ari just went off to, to bed, I think? Or to do some schoolwork?
No, he's going to meet someone or something. I don't know. I think he said something.
It
along
might
the
be
lines
to
of that.
go to his sister's birthday thing. But anyway, yeah.
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 Hey, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, we can see you. Look at that. It works pretty well now. So, Occult Synthetic,
Hey.
my good mate, Alex from high school. So we've known each other for a long, long time.
Yes,
Oh, nice.
we have indeed.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get a good spot.
Yeah, just get into a good song. Holy moly, dude, you shaved.
Yeah. Yeah, the
I'm like, you had a haircut and a shave.
yeah, the
I have not had a
hairdressers
haircut and a
opened
shave
up.
in over a year. Not by
that a dog
not by
behind
not
you?
being able to do that, but by choice.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really my choice, so it was getting kind of woolly there for a while. So as soon as I could get in to a hairdresser, because hairdressers, like the lines in for hairdressers were just like around the block for like days after the lockdown lifted. So
Whereabouts? Were you Melbourne or are you Sydney?
Melbourne.
Whereabouts in Melbourne?
In Nidri, so sort of near Essendon.
Ah, okay, yep. Other side of town. I'm in Chadston.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah. Did you meet Bill when he lived in Australia, or?
No, I just joined a Instagram group to learn a little bit more about painting, and yeah, just liked what Bill was painting and commented on his pictures, and he invited me to this thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, interesting mate. I
Nice.
found on the internet. No stranger danger there. Fine.
yeah.
Well, definitely no stranger danger intercontinental stranger danger. So, worth mentioning, Singapore's not a continent; it's a bloody island.
Yeah, it's an island nation, not a continent, mate. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Bill. You lose in that regard, but you certainly gain it. You certainly gain the advantage in having hawker halls with really good Hainanese chicken rice.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh man. Like recently we went to like a Singapore chicken rice place, right? That had like the current prime minister and the former prime minister, like, pictures on it, and we were going like, what happened? And it turned out like, oh, they went there to eat like, their rice. And I'm like, holy moly, I've got to try this. It was actually really good.
Nice. I'm a massive Asian food fan. Chinese, Japanese, anything I get my hands on. I love it.
Nice man, nice man. Well,
Likewise.
come over to Singapore. I'll take you some of the good hawker centers around.
I'm gonna have to put this light back on again, but the brightness goes crazy. But yeah, sorry about that. I won't be able to see shit without.
Yeah, fair enough. Got the old light there. So I've been painting with Mr. Ari on, and what I've done as a little recap for our dear guest is like I've done the highlights for the skin. I've added the green, so I'm using oil paints. So I'm using Pebeo bright green, just over here.
Nice.
Green. So this is what the skin looks like when it's highlighted. and this is what it looks like, not highlighted. Kind of see the difference there.
Yeah, actually, I think I need to make the picture bigger. Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, the next step. So I've done 2 of them. So I'm probably gonna do just 2 tonight, and then like I'll do them off camera because it'll take ages to do like the whole 6 of them. But I will start doing the characters in these 2 that I've already done. So, Mr. Jade, what are you painting today?
I'm not actually painting. I've kind of almost finished off that tree base that I was making last time.
Diorama, yeah.
Yeah. So I've set the plastic around and hot glued the bottom, and I'm gonna attempt to do a UV resin pour to sort of make it look like.
Do you have a mold for it now?
Yeah. So
You made a mold for it?
The mold's on there already.
Yeah, that's cool.
Lots of hot glue. So just fucking fingers crossed it holds, and yeah.
And that UV resin, is that one of those like polymers that is sensitive to light, particularly in this case, has a high absorbance factor for UV light, and it hardens like because it like becomes reduced or something?
Yeah, so that's the UV resin I've got there, and you get like this little lamp that comes with it.
You have to shine that directly into your eyes. I think that's the correct way to use the lamp.
Yeah, like in order for the resin to dry, you have to shine that directly in your eye.
Yeah.
Just right.
Goggles, they do nothing.
It does nothing.
Yeah, so the idea is you mix it up and you pour it in, and then you shine. Well, this is my idea anyway. And shine this on it and try and harden it. I think it should harden. Like it worked last time I used it. So
how quickly does it harden? Is it quite quick, or is it
like instant? It's almost instant, or in my experience. I haven't sort of touched it because I was a little bit afraid that it might be tacky or something, but it hardens really quickly.
Yeah, cool.
So you've done a test one of this already.
Well, I've not of this particular model, but I have done it before, and I feel like
the resin. So you've had prior experience with the resin, and you know when.
Yeah, and then each time you do it, you kind of get better at it. So the resin works. I just got to see. I'm going to try and mix up a good color. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Trying to mix up a color for the resin, and then hopefully transfer it to the resin, and then hopefully the resin will harden, and I won't ruin this whole diorama.
All right, excellent. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm trying to deepen up the shadows on the carapace to really make it pop a lot more. So I'm using my my Purple Lake, my Winsor Newton Purple Lake, and what I'm doing is just applying the oil paint in the recesses, just here, and taking a dry paintbrush and feathering it out. So when I feather it out, the oil paint will naturally just blend into the surrounding paint. So you get kind of blend just over here. And I've just done I don't need a wet palette, I don't need to do anything, it's just the natural qualities of the oil paint.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get into it. I've been waiting for shops to open here in Australia so I could go to the art store and get some.
Yeah, man.
Yep. I know that feeling.
Isn't it funny, you've got a billion colours or whatever, and I've got quite a bit now after, paying for a year or so, and it's just never enough. You always want to go and get more, there's always an easier way to make a colour at the shop than there is, to mix it up yourself, I feel.
Oh yeah.
It's like every single hobby. It's like I brew beer, and I'm like constantly looking at technology. Like, I could spend like $1,000 on that. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. That'll give me more consistency. Yeah, I should do that.
Yeah, I'm also looking at like more like audio and camera equipment and stuff for.
Oh, I know, dude. It's
And I'm like, I could spend $1,000, like It's like,
I feel like I'm gonna look back on my life and there's gonna be like a million different hobby things. Like, I'm looking in this room and I've got like 5 guitars, an amp, some pedals, a like box full of magic cards, all my science textbooks and stuff. And I'm just like, God, can I just choose one thing to try and do rather than try and do everything?
I'm exactly the same, dude. I've got the magic cards. I'm an ex-musician. I'm into video and MIDI painting. So yeah, that's crazy. You're preaching to the converted.
yeah, man.
You should have seen when Bill and I lived together way back in the day. We had our like PCs in the lounge room. It was it was pretty degenerate. It was like such a gamer household.
Yeah, it was a gamer household. Even Skitty was in on it.
I mean, but even do you remember that Bogan dude Steve was there? Like, even he was a gamer technically. Like, he wasn't as like he wasn't an elite gamer, like a sophisticated gamer like we were.
I liked Steve.
But, sorry?
I liked Steve.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
he was
like-
a simple guy, but he was
Simple man with simple needs that he just needed to punch that guy through the screen.
What was he like? He was always complaining. Was his name his mate Shano or something?
Yeah, he's always complaining about this.
Like, pretty much he was a tradie, and it just like he would always be just like lying on the couch playing COD, and he'd be like, "Oh, fucking Steve, I'll fucking kill you, you fucking cunt! Oh my god!"
But you know what? Simple pleasures in life.
That sounds like so many people I know.
I know, he was like the everyman you could count on to be playing COD. He's like the consistency of our day. It's like, oh.
Like, he was a pretty like fair and reasonable guy, you know. Like, you really couldn't fault him.
Yeah. He's just like, he's just like a mate that's just like, he's just chilling out playing COD. Who the fuck cares? Don't disturb him. Why you gotta like do him dirty like that?
Just reminded of that statement that our friend made last night when we were on that just oh.
Oh, please, no, don't bring this up now.
Yeah, no.
Like, I want to make this as PG as possible so I can actually post this up on YouTube, mate. Like, no.
No, I'm just saying he was an aficionado, that's all.
Ah.
That was way too crazy green. I don't know whether you can see that.
Whoa! That's like Goblin Green.
Yeah, it's way too green.
Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm trying to figure out which of the myriad of bottles here are going to make a nice kind of pond water color. You know, like
yes, pond water, very nice color.
Dirty river.
So pond water, like I usually go for kind of like an almost aquamarine, like blue green.
I've got a turquoise ink that it's super bright.
Yeah, so if you can add some green to that and darken it by like a lot and mix some maybe like browns or like blacks with it. Be careful with the black. I'm breaking a cardinal artist rule over here. Like, never ever mix black with anything. That was actually a cardinal, like, artist rule that I learned. It's like, never mix black with anything.
I use it as a cheat, like only if I'm being lazy, like, and I can't be bothered going into my drawer and getting another pot of paint out. If I just want to darken something a little bit, I think I got kicked out there.
No, that's me. It's because my Wi-Fi is getting a bit spotty, so like my phone camera is maybe like lagging a bit, and it's like losing, like it's like
Oh, okay,
can't find the phone, so it's frozen right now. It's like come on, do your thing. Oh, it's trying. Okay. There you go. It's back up again. So yeah, the video that me and Ari did like went pretty well, honestly. Like got quite a few views, which I'm surprised about.
Yeah, nice.
I was recommended by somebody like through a DM to not make it a 3-hour video like I did with Ari's, and to condense it down to 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, but it depends on what people are putting the video on for. Like, because there's some people who kind of do that thing where they'll just chuck on like videos and do something while they're doing it. So like sometimes like people might put your kind of video on while they're hobbying, and then
That's what I do.
just to stimulate that kind of like that stuff, that feeling of hobbying with people.
That's definitely what I like. Go to watch on YouTube is other people hobbying while I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's exactly it. Like if I'm trying to build some kind of like stupid magic deck or something, I'll just put on something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I might just make 2 videos out of it, whereas like one is just like condensed, where it's just like this is the information on how to paint the thing, that I'm trying to teach how to paint, which is just like this is my recipe, this is how I do it.
This is Bill's family recipe passed down generation to generation.
Yes. You need this much amount of Winsor Newton like oil paints. Just eat.
You can actually only use their Lake series of paints though. You're not allowed to use any other series.
Yep.
Hashtag sponsor. Hashtag not sponsored. Winsor Newton sponsor Bill.
Yeah, sponsor me, please. I use so much for your paints. I have almost your entire collection of paints now.
Expand your Lake series so I can start using the other ones.
Yep. Also, give me metallic oil paints. I've no idea how that would
as opposed
work.
to enamel.
No, enamels suck. It constantly damages, like, acrylic paints over it.
Yeah.
And also, like, the chemicals you need to actually use enamels are actually quite toxic. And smell real bad.
When I first started trying to make like water bases with resin, I bought like this really heavy duty industrial like resin.
Whoa.
And and I didn't have the proper mask on, and about 45 minutes later I started like feeling like really woozy and had like a headache and was kind of spinning. And yeah, so if you're gonna work with resin, be careful.
Yeah, I wouldn't even like go with any of the heavy duty resins or even UV resins. I would just go with like the water based resins, because that's more than adequate usually.
Oh yeah, like absolutely. I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, Jade, if you need any advice, now you know who to turn to. I've used most of the stuff and gotten sick from most of the stuff anyway.
Yeah, it's one of the hazards of one of the few hazards of painting miniatures. That and like cutting your thumbs with like a
The blades, yeah.
yeah, hobby knife.
That would be nice, yeah. So right now I'm just moving on to like the proper red highlights now. So I've just done the shadows with the purple lake from the Lake series, Winsor Newton. And now I'm moving on to the Winsor Newton Scarlet Lake for my highlights.
Let's see.
It's the same
I think we have a winner.
Yeah. Oh, is your resin working?
So I've decided that this is what I'm going to go with: skeleton contrast paint.
Oh, okay, the contrast.
It's sort of like a brackish kind of water. I don't know whether you can see that or not.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. I've got one here, so I know exactly what they look like. I have used that so many times in the shop.
Oh, it's such a good like cheat for skeletons.
Yeah,
skulls and stuff.
I've only recently stopped using it and like started using like oil paints to do my skeletons, but only because like I feel like I want specifically to do like the starch white skeletons, where like the bleach white, they're not brown.
Yeah. I find that like skeleton miniatures are actually really hard to come by for D&D, like, because everybody wants them, so they're just immediately sold out. Like,
that's why you gotta get them from. Okay, oddly enough, like one of the few like good, one of the few like kind of like well-costed miniatures that GW does is their skeleton miniatures. Like I will freely say the skeleton miniatures quite well costed for how many you get in the box.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And usually like I like when I was running the shop, if somebody that was running D&D, that's a DM, it's basically like, oh yeah, this is your essentials kit here. Here's a box of like 12 skeletons.
How much is like a box of 12?
Back then with the old skeletons, they were like $64.
Yeah, I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah. So per model, it would be what, like $7 or something. So it's like, oh, that's actually a pretty good deal considering like how many you get, and also like you'll never have to buy this again because you only need 12 skeletons for D&D.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm just gonna do a quick.
You get a huge variety of weapons with them as well. So it's like, okay, yeah. And yeah, now with the new skeletons, it's more just like skeleton spearmen and skeleton swords, but they are much better to look at. And they, oddly enough, haven't increased in price all that much, so I will give them that. Increase in quality, slight increase in price, very decent amount of models in the box. That's a very good. That's a very good. That's a very good change. I would say. That's a very good exchange.
Yeah. I haven't really gotten into like buying miniatures from 3D printing companies or anything like that yet, so I'm also been sort of looking into that and maybe getting a bust or something to paint at some point too.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can always just ask our good friend Elvin Armory. Yeah, he does 3D printing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he does it pretty well as well. Like, I would like to get started 3D printing and stuff like that, but like right now the funds are kind of like locked away, so with the whole YouTube thing, and yeah, and the
Elvin Armory 3D printing.
Yep.
There you go, I just googled him.
Sorry if it feels like I'm not answering back every time you guys are talking to me, but I'm just I'm in the middle of resin pouring, so you kind of got to like pay attention to what you're doing.
Oh, all good. Oh wow, this is cool, dude. He did some like ancient Greek themed stuff.
Yeah.
Looks
a lot
pretty
of
cool. I mean, I'm just such a sucker for that, like, because of playing so much Age of Mythology as a kid.
Yeah, man. Jeez.
These are some really nice minis. They look really cool.
Yep, that's the strength of resin printing.
Yeah. How much would it cost to get a resin printer like that?
$300.
How is it so cheap?
Yeah, nowadays it's pretty cheap. But it's just all about the finagling and the expertise in actually using it.
Yeah, okay.
And also the fact that like resin kinda is toxic. Like not in a oh no, it smells funny. It is actually quite toxic, and wet resin. Yeah, you really shouldn't get that on your skin.
Probably
Like,
no
I've
worse
seen-
than the stuff that I was exposed to at my old job.
I've seen somebody that did try to just go like, oh yeah, resin doesn't affect me at all, it's fine. I think a week later, I saw his hands and it was like, it looked like he had eczema.
Yeah.
Like serious
Yeah, you
eczema.
get those,
It looked
like-
raw.
Ew.
Like yeah, it's pretty serious. Like don't try it. Don't be like a hard ass about it.
Well, it just reminds me of like when I'd get like sulfuric acid burns in the lab, and it was just like, this again.
Yeah.
Or like when I was like inhaling all that acid vapor, it was like fucking up my lungs.
Yeah, but you do smoke, so it's like
I don't smoke anymore.
yeah, not anymore.
I didn't smoke at the time as well.
Really? Oh, okay.
No.
Well,
I had to
manage
quit.
your lungs then.
Yep. I'd quit for like ages at that point. Fist guy.
Yeah. Look at that, Mr. Alex.
Well, let me just open up the screen. Yeah, it looks really good. Can you, you won't be able to take a photo and then send that, will you?
Oh, I'll take a photo at the end when I'm done, and I'll
Okay.
do it on the video and like post it on the video as well.
What?
Like,
You know
yeah,
what's crazy? You know how we were talking about like cancel culture before?
Oh,
I know it's a bit of it's kind of like a relevant
Tangent,
point. But,
since we went through a policy.
I just like
Well.
right-clicked at your, I right-clicked on your video, and it's like user volume, mute, disable video, remove friend.
What?
Like, why is like one of the things on this like right-click toolbar remove friend?
I have no idea,
like,
mate.
For when you just need to like just like
Straight up remove someone. Yeah.
yeah. It's like it's not even like remove from chat. It's literally like just like remove friend. Like, what the hell?
Oh, he doesn't agree with my political beliefs.
Yep, deleted. We disagreed once. Deleted.
Well, to be fair, right, if we did that, like, Berkey, wouldn't be our friend anymore, and I would very much like for Berkey to be our friend.
That was a very strange conversation. I still can't believe that he's such a skeptic for psychology.
So yeah, if you don't know, so yesterday night I had a catch up with one of our other friends, and
Yeah.
we had a very long argument about psychology. And like I stopped halfway and was like planning on what I was gonna eat on Saturday. It was I settled on a New York style sandwich place called Chunky Lobster. So I think it came out of that debate, argument much better than these two did.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Chunky Lobster, if you would like to sponsor me, please, do so.
I think you have to like go do some videos in there of you hobbying inside the Chunky Lobster.
Yeah.
Was the food good?
Oh yeah, it was pretty good. It was excellent too. Like, the amount of lobster they put in their sandwiches is like hedonistically good. And I approve of that. No, I do like me my lobster. Ah, jeez. So, Jerry, are you still pouring the resin in, or?
I'm just use this little Green Stuff World leaf trimmer, and I'm just putting some leaves down in the side, so when the resin pours in, they'll sort of.
I have one of those as well.
Are they cool?
Yeah, I've got their like a punch hole one.
Yeah, I've got like that tiny leaves kind of thing.
Yeah. I've got their hole punch one where it's just like, oh look at that, like, and I painted like an entire sheet of paper with like.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like autumn leaves, and like every time I need like autumn leaves from that, I just like make like 10 or 20 of them and just like sprinkle them around my base.
Here's me using actual leaves.
Oh, what? I just got an A4 piece of paper. But if you want to
I should probably not be using actual leaves, but this is what I have handy. So.
Like, realistic for posterity's sake.
I didn't even. That's just awesome. Like, I didn't even think to like paint paper and then cut it out of paper, because that would be so much easier.
Yeah, like an entire A4, like has lasted me like for the better part of a year, and it's still going.
I think it may well be getting time for me to head to bed, lads.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you, by the way. I
Yeah, you
actually
too, man.
What your real name?
Oh, my real name is Jade.
Jade. Oh, sorry. Oh, pleasure to meet you, Jade. Have a lovely evening, gents.
You
I
too, man.
shall catch you guys soon. All right.
Yeah, have a good night, mate. And nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah, I know. Alrighty, catch you guys later.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, Jade, so this is the carapace with it now, and I'm like, feel like how red that looks
awesome.
now.
It's super red,
Right.
isn't it? Yeah.
This is the before, now this is after, and now it's like, yeah, everything's
jumping
coming
off.
up Tyranids now.
I'm gonna have to get me some oil paints. That's sort of that's one of the next challenges. That and non-metallic metal. I've never tried non-metallic metal, and I know this is probably sacrilege, but I actually like metallic paint. I think it looks cool. I don't even need non-metallic metal, but you're supposed to learn it, I guess.
Oh, nothing wrong with that, dude. Non-metallic metal is a good tool to have and to learn, because it teaches you a lot about shadows and lighting sources and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a good little tool to have as a point of reference. So that's a huge deal. That's a huge influence on my painting techniques, because all my painting techniques are, I paint the shadows real dark, then I lighten everything up, and then I paint it real dark again, and then paint everything up, light up again.
Dude, I do the exact same thing. Yeah. I paint everything dark, then light, then dark, then light, then dark, and then you eventually sort of find it somewhere in the middle, like.
I don't like to find the point in the middle. I just like it like extremely, just like very stark. Like usually it's this red is about like, you know, it's about normal. It's about normal. Like I can go a brighter red. Like I have gone a brighter red, so I think I've got it here actually. So this
I actually really like bright colors on miniatures. I feel like, you know, if they're on the table, you want to be looking at them.
Yeah.
You know.
So this is my commission piece that was like, you know, I posted up today, right? And this is my Constantine Valdor. So.
Oh, those wings look sweet on the top there.
Yeah. Oh, it's lagging. It's lagging quite badly.
Yeah.
Because of the Wi-Fi.
It's quite a good shot though. Like your camera's working well.
Yeah. Okay, now it's back on. Okay. So,
yeah, that looks awesome.
The pepper cloak, the little claws over here, the red and stuff like that today, and also the parchment on today. The gold was probably the most amount of time I've ever done on like a metallic gold that was non-metallic. And yeah.
So that's not actually metallic paint.
No, it's metallic paint.
That gold. Oh, it is.
That gold is metallic paint, but like I had to really like take a lot of cues from like non-metallic metal stuff. Like really force the shadows in, really like, you know, kind of like, you know, where do I put the highlights, that kind of thing, and like, you know, where's the perspective of this, like, you know, the light coming in. Because this is a so if you don't know, it's one of the big, like, you know, very expensive models that is like to be like a centerpiece, and it's like, you know, like this model costs like costs 180 like USD.
What? No, it doesn't. $180 for that.
USD.
Jesus. Why? Why is it so expensive?
Apparently because it's made of resin and it's high quality. I'm like, no.
Wow, that's crazy. And here I am, like, spending $10 to get this guy.
Yeah, mate. Like, honestly, right? Like, sometimes, like, we had this this discussion already with like the GW prices. I don't believe in them. I'm like, what the hell is going on? This is ridiculous. I find it extremely ridiculous nowadays. It is
Well, just the fact that like it's almost like they're trying to force people to just start printing their own minis. Like, I feel like you know, like majority of Warhammer fans, you know, they love it so much they want to support, you know, the hobby by buying it properly. But if teenagers get priced out of it and can't get that stuff, like it's so easy for them to just print their own.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah. Like, honestly, that's why I switched from, like, you know, acrylic paints to, like, oil paints, because I realized, wait, this tube that is 37 milliliters will never spill and will never dry out on me.
The spill part is, like, almost more important than anything else.
Well, it'll never dry. You can keep this on the shelf for years. I'm pretty sure these tubes are years old.
Yeah, and even if it does dry, you can always bring it back. Like,
with some difficulty, yeah, but like, yeah.
Well, I just did something with the resin that I probably shouldn't have done, but I kind of had no choice. So I added in my Citadel
put it in your mouth.
skeleton.
Fine.
No, I didn't drink any. I put in the the skeleton horde stuff, a bit of that, and a lot more resin, and I've started sort of mixing it up. So, but now I've got like all these little bubbles in there, so I kind of want to get rid of those before I do the pour if I can. But doing that is kind of hard. I might have to go and get a lighter.
Oh yeah. Just need like a little lighter, dude.
I'll be back.
Yeah, no worries, man. This is something I'll definitely cut out.
Okay.
Alright, excellent.
So, hopefully I don't blow up, catch myself on fire
Fine. No
somehow.
one's ever like set themselves on fire. That's impossible.
Nobody can see that, but it's working.
Oh yeah.
It's only that I've got it in a really flimsy plastic cup, but it could.
Oh! Oh no. Okay, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Oh, I think that looks quite good actually.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Look at that.
Probably gonna pour pretty uneven, but look, you know, whatever.
Even out. Sure, it'll even out.
Well, that's the hope, eh?
Yeah, gravity will do the work. It's fine. When has gravity ever let us down?
The worst part with these is when you realize you've got a leak, and you realize it too late, and the shit is everywhere, and there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah. I've had those happen a few times. It's just basically like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna put masking tape on it and hope for the best. That's my solution to everything. It's either like masking tape, duct tape, or like, you know, like...
Yeah,
I think it becomes a problem later.
I think I went with like blue tack. I just shoved blue tack all over it.
Yeah, that's also a good one as well. We are off the same mind, Jade.
Alright.
So yeah, I was quite taken aback because that's the most amount of views my channel has had for a very long time, and it happened in such a short span of period. It was like happened in like, you know, in one day, and it was like, whoa, okay. So like, so I found out that like, YouTube doesn't count people unless they like actually watch the entire video.
Oh,
And it was
really?
like a 3-hour video, and I'm like, whoa! In one day, 20 people watched a 3-hour video.
And that's what that's what it is, man. It's people like us who love to sit around and hobby and make stuff, but you kind of need a little bit of inspiration as well to sort of push through those boring parts, or those parts where you just kind of, I want to take a break, but you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Sometimes you just need a bit of like, you know, positive reinforcement and just like people around you going like, come on, you can do it.
Yeah, that's why you know, a lot of those YouTube channels are so great for that, like 52 Miniatures and Goobertown Hobbies. They're just like super positive dudes who are just like, yeah, you can you can like paint that really cool, and you know, you don't need to be, you don't need to get that sort of
but when it comes
analysis
to anything,
paralysis.
Yeah. I'm very positive when it comes to painting, but anything to do with like, you know, the hobby, like, you know, sphere and stuff like that, and prices and stuff like that, I'm very like, no, it's a mess.
Well, I maybe poured a little bit too much resin in places here. I've got quite a few bubbles too, and this stuff is all over my hands, which is not great. So,
Uh-oh. It'll be fine.
Gonna have to go and sort that out. I'll be back.
No worries. switch over to my camera now, and we can see what. Heck, I'm doing here.
Okay, so I've got the majority of the resin off my hands. Now I've got to try and get it off the side of the base.
Oh yeah.
Because if I hit that with the UV, it's just gonna harden it and I'll never get it up this collar off.
Yeah, it'll be a pain, like a real pain to get it off.
Oh, it's gonna be a pain no matter what, I think. Like, I've kinda...
Oh, I forgot. Like, mold release. That is something like you can use on like you can use in your molds.
What's mold release? Like a sort of Vaseline or something? Or?
Yeah, it's like a spray on, like, you know, kind of like, you know, it does the same thing as Vaseline but for molds. It's like a spray on thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen it used on like woodworking and stuff like that, when they're doing like tables and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, that would also work pretty well, I would assume, on like, you know, small scales. Like, it comes in a little spray can, so it's pretty convenient. So, you know, I mean, like, you know, if you know, it will look pretty suspicious if, like, you know, suddenly your Vaseline bill just goes straight up through the roof and it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, your partner starts wondering what's going on.
Like, well, I'm not good enough, is that right?
Alright, so I've got the majority of the resin in there now. It's not even, and there's bubbles, and you know, but I'm gonna try and get rid of some of the bubbles if I can.
Yeah.
With a skewer. I'm just trying to see if, oh, actually this might work. There's a big bubble around the side where there was, oh no, it's kind of disappeared, that's good.
Alright, so this is what the carapace on the head looks like, pretty much, like after I'm done with it.
Oh man, that looks so awesome. It looks like dragon scale, like.
Yeah. That's what I really went for. Like, I really want like that kind of like little dark
red dragon.
Blue. Yeah, and really bright red. It's like, yeah.
Okay, well,
I'm up to that later on. At the end, that. Well, on to number 2 over here, and I'll do the rest off camera later on. And hopefully.
Well, I'm about to hit this sucker with some UV light.
Do it.
Here we go. Ah, it's melting. No, it's alright. So it's a little bit uneven.
Like miniatures from
uneven
that I really want to paint up. Like he's a real champ, and it was like, you know, oh, like, you know, I got a few things off him, and then he just put in like some bonuses in there for me, and I've got an illithid to paint that he's pre-printed. Freaking.
Oh, sweet. Hell yeah! You know, we should do what we should do. We should buy a model each and send it to one another, and then and paint that model.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. Easy peasy, mate.
It's something sort of different, because I would never choose a Warhammer model, because basically they're harder to get here in Australia. But
no, they're not.
Well, yeah, I guess I could. Yeah, no, I could go to you know, Games Workshop and go and buy it, but I wouldn't know what I'm buying. Like, I don't know whether I'm up for spending $180 on a miniature either. And that was just American. Fuck, it's even more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's way more than that in Oz dollars. Yeah, like I donated like some of my collection to GP Aussie Painter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I gave him a couple of stuff to paint up, just because I wanted to see him and, like, you know, do some other stuff. And then, like, you know, he was real ecstatic about that, and took a few months to get there, but I was like, what the hell is going on with the shipping?
Yeah, he the last thing I saw that he painted was a Wolverine figure.
Yep. Yeah, he's taking a bit of a break from it. Yeah, I think he's getting a bit burnt out, which is okay. I mean, the lockdown is that to everyone.
Yeah, it happens to everyone too. Like even just painting, mini paint. You need to put it down for a little while and come back to it later.
Yeah.
I got so much resin all up underneath where the rock is supposed to be, or the earth is supposed to be dry. And this mold is heating up because the light causes like a thermal reaction, so it's actually really hot to touch now.
Yeah. That's why I've always been like a bit more of an advocate for the water resin, because it's just like the water-based resins, because I'm like, I don't really want to keep touching my molds. I don't want to keep like, just like pointing this thing at it, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, if anybody's watching this, don't do what I'm doing. Like it's certainly. I should be wearing like a mask because I think the vapors are quite bad. But with the UV resin, I sort of haven't noticed too much. Like if you're doing like a really really big piece, like I would definitely be wearing a mask.
Oh yeah, safety first, guys. Like and ladettes. Because there are quite a few more like a few more like ladies in the wargaming community nowadays. So it's like
I feel like COVID also maybe made a heap more miniature painters as well, by everybody sort of being forced to stay at home and find something to do.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like it's a creative outlet and it's pretty fun to do. Just gotta be real careful about where you get your minis. Jeez.
Oh, this is looking okay, man. I feel like it's working. I am too afraid to sort of touch it. Just
don't touch it, bro. Don't touch it.
I like to go like overboard with the UV light just to make sure,
Yeah, but don't touch it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't touch it.
I had a very bad habit, like when I first started using like resin. I was just like, I kept touching it just to see, like, let's try it. It must be dry now. It's like, no, you dingus, it's only been an hour. How could it possibly be dry, especially when the box says 5 hours to cure? It's like, no, it might be dry, I might be wrong. It's like...
I feel like the UV resin is deceptive, like, because you think, in my experience with resin, you just can't touch it for ages, you gotta leave it, and that. But this, like, it sets it pretty rock hard, and like I can feel that is definitely hard already.
The resin is really good if you want something to cure and dry real quick.
I didn't get much color out of the water, but I got enough, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I've ever used UV resin was for like things that are structural, like from my workplace.
Oh yeah.
Like for work, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to fix this real quick. It needs to like be pretty solid, like as solid as it can be. Oh yeah, just put in some UV resin, put on the flashlight, just like, done.
I put an orc skull in the bottom here, and a leaf has fallen like right in front of its face before I poured the resin in. So, you can't actually see the face of it. Sucks.
It's okay, minor details. It's okay, just a little detail somebody can like spot it. Just a happy little accident.
Happy little accident. Yeah, so this
this is the miniature for my brother's D&D character called Tyrus, and we're playing the Tomb of Annihilation campaign. And so, yeah, it's all jungle, like death jungle. Basically, is just the whole game is death jungle, and so he's already had one character die, and he's had to make a new character. So this is his new character, Tyrus. So I decided to make him for my brother for Christmas. So
Nice.
going on that jungle base.
Nice. Yeah, like we've had to take a little bit of a hiatus from the Wildland campaign, just because it's like our DM he needs to practice for an interview.
Oh yeah.
He's applied for a job as a police inspector, as a detective.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah. So, if I ever get done in for like a crime, I know who to call.
Yeah, your DM.
That's like you get one phone call. Who do you call? Like, not my mom. Hello, can I speak to Detective Nizar, please?
Yeah, roll a d20.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I played Tomb of Annihilation in 3.5, but I've never played.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing a monk called well, actually, he started off as a monk. He was a drunken monk.
Drunken fighter.
Yeah, like drunken monk style, and then his whole temple basically got kidnapped or something, and so there's no one to learn kung fu off anymore. So he's just become a fighter. So he can run around and like hit things relatively hard, like. Because he's level 3, level 5 monk, level 3 fighter or something like that. So his name's Manuki. He's like a New Zealand guy. Like he speaks with like a hey fellas, how you going? Like Korg from.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. That's awesome, mate. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so it's like Manuki and Tyrus, and my other brother actually plays an elf druid called Eldar, and then there's a little halfling cleric called Grunker. So it's a pretty cool campaign.
Wow. Halfling cleric of Grunker. Wow, that just
yeah, but it looks like a gnome.
Dynamic already there.
Yeah, he speaks kind of speaks like Yoda, and he's like addicted to like shooting lightning on things. So
What?
it's pretty.
How can he be Yoda but also have the lightning hands of Mr. Emperor Palpatine?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. He's a pretty cool character. So I haven't gotten around to making his miniature next, but I do have Manuki ready to go. I will get to him at some point, but I made him on Hero Forge.
Oh, nice.
And then
Yeah.
you can
Oh, Hero Force is such a great resource for minis, man. Oh,
yeah. So I bought him like a year ago, and I've just sort of had him sit on the shelf. I wanted to wait until I got good enough to do it justice. So I'm just about there, I reckon.
yeah, mate. Oh my god, my internet has been so shoddy today. I'm like, like the camera's lagging all over the place. So hopefully, the viewers at home can actually accurately see what I'm doing for the past few minutes. And like, everyone else that is like, watching is just like here to, hang out and chill at the hobby. Yeah, I might actually just make 2 videos out of this one thing. where one video is just all about the painting and my technique and stuff like that for people that.
Yeah, cool.
And the other one is
yeah.
the Hobby Ramble.
Yeah, I can definitely ramble. As I'm doing this, I feel like I'm not talking enough because I'm super concentrated on making sure that I don't fuck up this whole thing because I've been working on this for 4 weeks or something.
We already went through the checklist and we talked about politics and communism, so sorry. So it's fine.
Cool.
Now everyone knows I'm pro-democracy and pro-freedom. It's pro-freedom of speech. It's I'm sure I'll get cancelled at some point.
Nah, man, you're preaching to the converted here. I'm pretty political dude, but yeah, I'm all about that good guy stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm very much just I'm also just concerned about the rise of more authoritarian styles kind of government gaining more attention.
Yep, me too.
People seem to kind of gravitate a lot more to strong arm governments right now, and it's I guess it's just a personal feeling of a lack of control.
Yeah, it's because of the virus and the uncertainty with other superpowers and stuff. So
yeah. Yep, and obviously being here and in Singapore, I'm a lot closer to one of the more troubling superpowers, and it's just right, yeah, okay, this really affects me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm going to put down the UV light and I'm not going to touch it. Don't worry, I'm not going to touch it. But what if I was to touch it? Would it be hard?
I mean, you said it was hard already, so
I'm pretty sure it is, man. I'm pretty damn sure. Look, I'm tapping it and...
Yeah, it's got that clicking sound.
Yeah, it sounds hard.
Yeah, it sounds hard. I mean, you want to risk it for the biscuit?
He's old as he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon that has worked. Although, I mean, it's not exactly circular, but who cares?
It's circular enough.
Circular enough. Well, dude, I feel like I'm probably gonna have to bail on you. I'm afraid. This is I gotta work tomorrow again.
Yeah, I've got to work tomorrow too.
But the good news is I quit my job on Tuesday. Yeah, I've only been there for a month.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just no, this job is not for me. I'm out. Catches.
Wow.
So
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm fairly certain I'll find something pretty quickly. But I'm gonna have more time for hobbying, so
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm gonna be around.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to go get a bit off of my job as well, and
I feel like everyone is, right?
Yeah. So I'm just kind of okay, I'll start to have a little more days off my job to do more painting, do more commissions, do more do more of these videos, slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Just because it's this is what I'm pretty passionate about, and I honestly I like hobbying and like talking about it. It's one of the few things I really miss about my old job.
Yeah, and for me, as I mentioned last time I was on, I've been locked down for the better part of 2 years in Melbourne, so I've just been learning from watching YouTube. So it's good to have someone to talk to and say, oh, what do you reckon about this, or what do you think about this brand, or because my girlfriend is so sick of hearing me talk about inks and resin and
What does she have any knowledge on the subject? That's the main question.
No,
Like, is she a credible source?
No, well, she tries not to be a credible source. I think she's actively working against it, but no, she likes the hobby and that sort of thing. Like, we both got into our own kind of hobbies at the start of the pandemic.
All right.
And so, yeah, no. So now I've got the opportunity to travel to go and see my family very soon. So I'm hoping to go and see my brother and talk to him about minis and show him what I've been working on. So.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like, go for it, dude. Like, yeah, meet up with the family, make sure everyone's okay. Give him have some brewskis, have a, bloody Barbie. My gosh, it's been a long time since I've had a Barbie. Just with friends.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. I'm so sick of cooking barbecues for myself. So I'm looking forward to cooking for other people.
Yeah, exactly, mate. All right then.
All right, mate.
Close out the video. Do you want a little bit of a shout out at the end?
I don't really have anyone to shout out to, but
shout out your Instagram, dude.
Oh well, yeah. If you want to check out what this piece looks like at the end, I'm going to post a picture probably after Christmas because I want it to be a surprise. My brother follows my Instagram, so he'll see it if I post it up there. But yeah, so it's irregular knoll with like a little pink background and a like a Disney knoll. That's my Instagram.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, I think that's the end of today's hobby session. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Bill from Dragon Tooth Miniatures. You can catch me on Instagram as well at Dragon Tooth Makes, and remember to like and subscribe, like and share, and comment, and make sure the YouTube algorithm actually picks this up. And yeah, if you want to catch Mr. Jade over here, that's Irregular Null on Instagram. There'll be a link in the description below. So thank you very much, and have a good night, everyone.
Nah, catch us later.